1. The loudest growth happens in silence. You don't need to broadcast every move you make. Elevation requires isolation. While others are busy talking, be busy building. Silence doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It means you're doing something that doesn't need applause yet. Real growth doesn't need validation. Let your results speak louder than your announcements. 2. Protect your energy like it's your legacy. Everybody doesn't deserve access to you. Every conversation isn't worth your energy. The more you focus on yourself, the more you realize how much energy you've wasted trying to please people who weren't even paying attention. Lock in on your path and stop letting outside noise distract your inner peace. Protect your focus like it's your future, because it is. 3. Success is built in private, revealed in public. Don't chase the spotlight, chase the process. When you work on yourself in silence, you become unstoppable in plain sight. People may not see your grind, but they'll have to respect your shine. Don't explain your vision, execute it. And when the time is right, let your discipline do the talking. 4. You owe no one an explanation for evolving. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to grow, to elevate, to break cycles. And sometimes that means pulling back, cutting off distractions, and focusing solely on yourself. That's not selfish, that's necessary. Stay silent, stay focused, and let them wonder how you did it. Because the people who talk the most usually do the least. And the ones who win are too busy working to explain why. 1. The loudest growth happens in silence. In a world that thrives on noise and notifications, status updates, constant commentary, silence has become an endangered resource. But it's in that silence where transformation takes root. Growth, the kind that changes your life from the inside out, doesn't always come with fanfare. It doesn't always come with applause or likes or followers. It comes quietly, gradually, and often when no one else is watching. The loudest growth, the kind that endures, happens in silence. People often mistake silence for inactivity. They believe that if they don't see movement, nothing's happening. But they forget that the most essential developments happen beneath the surface. A seed doesn't sprout the moment it's planted. It spends time underground, hidden from sight, pushing through the soil, anchoring itself with roots before it ever emerges. That's not stagnation, that's strategy. And your life, your success, your growth works the same way. You don't have to tell people your every move. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Because the truth is, the moment you get addicted to proving yourself, you start performing for the wrong audience. You start playing a role that doesn't fit who you really are. Real growth is about becoming, not impressing. And becoming requires concentration. It requires quiet. It requires the discipline to retreat from the noise and dive deep into yourself. The ones who are truly growing, truly evolving, are too busy putting in the work to post about it. They're too focused on the grind to seek applause for every step, because they understand that external validation is temporary, but internal transformation is eternal. They know that the only scoreboard that matters is the one they see in the mirror. And that scoreboard doesn't light up with praise. It reflects effort, consistency, and commitment over time. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the wisdom to understand that timing matters. That not everything needs to be shared the moment it's started. Some things need to be nurtured in private. Some visions need room to breathe, to grow strong away from judgment, away from opinions, away from premature scrutiny. Silence gives your dreams space to develop strong enough roots to withstand storms. When you're building something real, you don't rush to reveal it. You build it brick by brick. You do the foundational work. And that work isn't glamorous. It's not camera-worthy. It's late nights, early mornings, setbacks, and lessons. It's revising your plans, learning from your mistakes, and showing up anyway. And all of that happens in silence. All of that happens in the unseen hours that nobody celebrates but everybody needs. Too many people try to skip that phase. They want the reward without the grind, the platform without the preparation, the attention without the accuracy. But what's built in noise often collapses in silence. Because when the applause dies down, when the spotlight fades, only the solid remains. And if you haven't done the work in silence, you won't be able to stand in the moments that count. Silence isn't just about what you don't say, it's about what you choose to protect. It's about guarding your vision, your peace, your process. Because not everyone deserves a front row seat to your transformation. Some people are only there to comment, not to contribute. And when you're serious about your growth, you learn to discern the difference. You stop over-explaining. You stop defending your decisions. You stop giving energy to people who haven't earned access to your evolution. Focus is forged in silence. When you remove the distractions, you can finally hear your own voice. You can finally think clearly, plan deeply, Act deliberately. You stop chasing trends and start building truth. And the truth is, what's happening inside of you is more important than what's happening around you. The outside world may be chaotic, but you don't have to be. You can choose stillness. You can choose silence. You can choose to grow where no one else is looking. People won't always understand your silence. They'll wonder why you've pulled back. They'll assume you're slipping when you're actually rising. They'll mistake your quiet for quitting. Let them, because they don't see what's being built. They don't see the mindset being molded, the strength being summoned, the discipline being drilled. They don't see the vision you're holding on to while everyone else is distracted. Silence gives you space to fail without fear, to experiment without explanation, to reflect without interruption. It allows you to recalibrate, to pivot, to realign. And in that sacred space of quiet determination, you begin to understand who you really are, not who the world told you to be. You find your voice by listening to it, not broadcasting it. And once you do, you no longer need the noise. You become anchored, grounded, unshakable. Growth in silence also teaches you patience. You learn to trust the process, to plant without expecting immediate harvest. You stop forcing things and start flowing with purpose. You develop endurance, because when you're not performing for applause, you find out what really motivates you. You discover your why, and your why will take you farther than any praise ever could. Don't confuse silence with isolation either. Sometimes it's necessary to separate yourself from distractions, but that doesn't mean you're alone. It means you're intentional. You're saying no to the things that pull you off course. You're choosing quality over quantity. You're investing in your inner circle, the people who sharpen you, challenge you, hold you accountable or not, the ones who cheer when you post but disappear when you struggle. In silence, you meet yourself, the real you, not the filtered version, not the version shaped by opinions, but the one who lives beneath all that. The one who carries dreams too big to be shouted from rooftops. The one who's ready to build a life that's sustainable, not just impressive. And that person, that version of you, doesn't need constant noise to thrive. That version grows best in stillness. There's something sacred about working on yourself in silence. It's not about being secretive, it's about being selective. You're not hiding, you're healing. You're not withdrawing, you're working. You're not lost, you're locked in. And when the time is right, when the growth is complete, when the foundation is firm, you'll rise. Not because you announced it, but because you earned it. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is disappear for a season. Go inward, shut the door, turn down the volume, and grind. Build in silence. Grow in silence. Succeed in silence. Because the loudest growth doesn't make noise, it makes moves. And moves made in silence are often the most strategic, the most authentic, and the most unshakable. This kind of growth requires maturity. It requires you to let go of the need for approval. It requires you to stop comparing your process to someone else's highlight reel. It requires you to stay focused when distractions scream for your attention. And it requires you to believe in what you're building, even when no one else sees it yet. That's the challenge and the opportunity, to trust the process even when it's quiet, to keep pushing even when it's invisible, to stay faithful even when it's thankless. Because silent seasons prepare you for visible victories. They build your character, stretch your faith, deepen your capacity. And all of that matters more than quick results or temporary recognition. Sometimes the silence feels heavy. It feels like you're being overlooked or forgotten. But you're not. You're being developed. You're being refined. And development doesn't always come with comfort. It comes with stretching, pruning, waiting. But every moment in silence adds up. Every lesson, every sacrifice, every choice to stay committed, it all stacks, it all compounds. And one day, it all breaks through. Breakthroughs don't start when you go viral, they start when you go inward. When you finally stop running from yourself and start working on yourself. When you finally stop chasing noise and start choosing purpose. When you finally decide that who you're becoming is more important than what others are saying. That's when the shift happens. That's when silence becomes strength. That's when growth becomes undeniable. Because by the time the world sees the outcome, the roots will already be too deep to shake. By the time they recognize your strength, you'll already have built it in the dark. By the time they applaud, you'll know you didn't need it. Because the work was already done, the transformation was already complete, and the victory was already yours long before it was visible. 2. Protect your energy like it's your legacy. Every person walking this earth has a limited supply of energy each day. That energy is your currency, and how you spend it determines the wealth of your future. Some people spend it chasing opinions, arguments, distractions, and temporary validation and wonder why they feel empty. But the ones who build legacies, The ones who rise above the noise are the ones who learn to protect their energy like it's sacred, because it is. Protecting your energy means understanding that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every conversation is worth your breath. Not every invitation deserves your RSVP. When you start focusing on yourself, something beautiful begins to happen. You stop giving away your energy to things that don't serve your purpose. You realize that peace is more valuable than popularity, and purpose is more powerful than pride. You have to start seeing your energy as your responsibility. Just like you wouldn't let someone walk into your house and take what they want, you can't let people walk into your life and drain you without permission. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values, your goals, your direction, you say no to something that does. Your attention is a gift. Don't hand it out to anyone who whistles for it. There's a reason why successful people are selective. It's not arrogance, it's alignment, it's clarity. When you know what you're building, you know what distracts you. When you know where you're headed, you know what detours to avoid. Protecting your energy doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world, it means insulating yourself from what weakens your spirit. You've got to start treating your energy like it's expensive, because it is. It's the fuel that drives your habits, decisions, relationships, and dreams. If you waste it on every critic, every drama, every temporary distraction, don't be surprised when you're too tired to focus on your purpose. Purpose requires power, and power requires preservation. There are people who thrive off of draining others. They're not evil, they're just empty. And when someone is empty, they'll take from anyone who's full. You've got to learn to spot them. People who always need something but never give anything. People who show up when it benefits them but vanish when it's time to reciprocate. People who pretend they're close, but the moment you say no, their true colors show. Your energy is not a charity, it's an investment. Start expecting returns. You don't have to feel guilty for choosing peace. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time and emotions. Boundaries are not walls, they're gates. They don't shut everyone out, but they do filter who comes in. And only those who respect your boundaries deserve a seat at your table. You can love people and still protect your space. You can be kind and still be firm. Don't let anyone confuse your boundaries for betrayal. There comes a point in life when you realize that the most powerful thing you can do is say less, do more, and let your actions speak for you. Not out of ego, but out of energy management. Because words drain. Arguments drain. Constant explanations drain. Sometimes silence is your greatest defense and focus is your strongest offense. Protecting your energy also means being careful where you place your focus. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you're constantly feeding your mind with doubt, fear, and comparison, don't be surprised when your energy feels weak. What you allow in your mind will either empower you or enslave you. Start feeding your mind the same way you feed your body, with intentionality and discipline. It also means watching the habits that steal from you, scrolling endlessly, comparing constantly, procrastinating habitually. These are small leaks with big consequences. You might not notice it at first, but day by day, they chip away at your strength, your clarity, your drive. Take your time seriously, because wasted time turns into wasted energy, and wasted energy turns into wasted potential. The people who build powerful lives aren't always the most talented, but they are the most disciplined. They're the ones who know how to manage their energy. They protect their mornings, guard their routines, and treat their vision like it's sacred. They're not just doing things, they're doing the right things. With focus, with intention, with fire. Discipline is one of the highest forms of energy protection. When you know your priorities, distractions lose their power. When you operate with purpose, temptation loses its appeal. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. You stop getting pulled in every direction and start walking boldly in one. And in that direction, your energy multiplies. You move from scattered to strategic. You'll also realize that sometimes protecting your energy means outgrowing environments. It means walking away from what once felt comfortable. It means choosing growth over familiarity. Not everyone will understand. Some will say you've changed, and they'll be right. Growth changes you, and that's the point. If you're still fitting into rooms that no longer reflect your future, your energy is being confined, not cultivated. Let go of trying to convince people to see your worth. That's a heavy energy expense with no return. Your value isn't up for debate. It's demonstrated by your actions, not proven by your explanations. When you're doing the work, when you're staying consistent, when you're aligned with your calling, the right people will recognize it without a word, and the wrong people can't see it even if you scream it. Your silence isn't an absence, it's a presence, a strong one. It's you reclaiming your time, your mind, your mission. It's you saying, I'm not available for nonsense. I'm not accessible to chaos. I'm not responding to noise. Because every time you engage in things beneath your growth, you descend. And elevation requires separation. Start surrounding yourself with people who fuel you, not drain you. People who challenge your mind, not just your mood. People who encourage your evolution, not just your convenience. You don't need a crowd, you need a circle. A strong, tight, loyal circle that understands the weight of your vision and the value of your energy. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being wise, mature, focused. Because the more energy you waste trying to carry people who refuse to walk, the slower your own progress becomes. And you don't have time to slow down. Not now, not when you've come this far, not when your future is calling. So be bold enough to walk away. Be brave enough to say no. Be wise enough to unplug. Be strong enough to be misunderstood. Because every step you take to protect your energy is a step toward the life you were meant to build. Remember, your energy is not just how you feel today, it's how you show up tomorrow. It's how you love, lead, serve, and succeed. It's how you build your family, your future, your legacy. And anything that costs your energy without feeding your destiny is too expensive. Let the phone ring, let the comments fly, let the invitations pass. You're not avoiding life, you're choosing it. You're choosing the version that's aligned, grounded, powerful. You're choosing growth over gossip, vision over validation, future over familiarity. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you say yes to something greater. That's how legacies are built. Not by shouting, not by explaining, but by protecting what matters most: your time, your focus, your energy. Because when you guard your energy, you guard your greatness. And when you guard your greatness, you begin to live from a place of power, not pressure. Let others run in circles. You walk with direction. Let others chase trends. You chase truth. Let others exhaust themselves trying to be seen. You protect your energy, and in time, the world won't just see you, they'll feel you. Because true power doesn't need to announce itself. It radiates, quietly, consistently, unapologetically. 3. Move in silence so your results make the noise. We live in a world addicted to validation. A world where the moment someone has an idea, a plan, a dream, they post it, share it, talk about it, not realizing that the louder you announce your move, the easier it becomes for doubt, distraction, and opposition to find you. Silence isn't weakness. Silence is strategy. And when you learn to move in silence, you begin to understand that there is real power in keeping your mouth closed and letting your progress speak instead. Some of the most powerful growth happens in the dark. Seeds don't break ground by screaming. They break ground by growing quietly, persistently, underground. The roots are getting strong before the plant ever breaks through. In the same way, your discipline, your focus, your sacrifice, those things need space to mature. Broadcasting your every move puts unnecessary pressure on your process. You start making decisions for applause, not alignment. You start chasing reaction instead of results. Silence is not about secrecy. It's about sanctity. It's about protecting the sacred space where your dreams are being formed. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your progress. Some people are only watching to doubt you. Others are watching to copy you. And many are watching just to distract you. That's why you move in silence. Because when the vision is loud enough inside of you, you don't need to make noise outside of you. Too often, people confuse motion with progress. They talk, they post, they flex. But when it comes down to execution, there's no substance behind the noise. Meanwhile, the quiet ones, the disciplined ones, are working in the background. They're grinding in silence, planning in silence, building in silence. And before anyone even knows what's happening, they've already produced something undeniable. The truth is, when you're serious about your goals, you don't have time to talk about them. You're too busy working. And when you're truly confident in what you're building, you don't feel the need to prove it to anyone. You're not motivated by attention, you're moved by purpose. Silence becomes your shield. And progress becomes your proof. One of the most dangerous things you can do is share an incomplete vision with people who lack understanding. You give them something they're not equipped to handle. You expose your potential to premature opinions. And in doing so, you risk shrinking your dream down to their level of belief. Sometimes it's not the world that limits you, it's the people you invite into your vision too early. Your silence creates separation, and that separation allows you to elevate, because you can't fly high while trying to explain yourself to everyone on the ground. The altitude you're meant to reach requires solitude, not isolation but intentional distance. Distance from noise, distance from judgment, distance from the gravitational pull of mediocrity. There's an undeniable clarity that comes when you stop talking and start doing, when you no longer need people to believe in you before you believe in yourself, when you no longer need affirmation before you take action, when you no longer chase approval but chase achievement. Your focus sharpens, your confidence builds, and your momentum multiplies. The process is where character is formed. But if you're constantly distracted by how your process looks to others, you'll never give it the purity it needs to grow. You'll be editing yourself before you've even written the story. That's why silence matters. It keeps the process sacred. It allows the vision to breathe without interruption. You'll also discover that silence reveals who's truly for you. When you stop giving updates, the people who check in without a performance are the ones who care about you, not just your progress. The ones who support you without needing a front row seat. Silence filters your circle. It exposes those who were just clapping for the show and not invested in the mission. And make no mistake, moving in silence doesn't mean staying stuck. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing more than ever, but telling less than ever. It means showing up for yourself without broadcasting every move. It means stacking small wins behind closed doors, so that when the door finally opens, you're not just ready, you're undeniable. Silence also trains your discipline, because when you stop chasing recognition, your only reward is results. That changes everything. You become less emotional and more strategic, less reactive and more consistent. You stop measuring your day by likes and start measuring it by progress. You become obsessed with the mission, not the metrics. And in that obsession, excellence is born. Silence keeps you honest. It removes the performance. When nobody's watching, your habits are real. Your choices are yours. You either want it or you don't. There's no applause, no congratulations, no validation, just you and the work. And that's where real transformation happens. In the silence, in the space where you're not performing for anyone, but preparing for everything. The world is loud with distraction. Everyone wants to be seen, heard, followed. But the ones who win? They're too busy building to broadcast. They're too dialed in to look around. While others are updating timelines, they're upgrading skill sets. While others are chasing attention, they're mastering discipline. While others are performing, they're perfecting. Silence isn't just an action, it's a mindset. It's choosing to put energy into your execution instead of explanation. It's trusting that the results will be so loud they won't need a backstory. That your progress will be so undeniable that no introduction is needed. You walk in, and the results announce your presence. There will be seasons where you feel invisible, where no one sees the work, the pain, the sacrifice. But keep going, because those seasons are the foundation of everything that comes later. You don't rise by being seen, you rise by staying solid. You don't grow by being heard, you grow by being grounded. And you don't win by being loud, you win by being locked in. Every empire starts in silence. Every masterpiece begins in solitude. Every breakthrough is born in the shadows before it ever reaches the spotlight. Don't rush the reveal. Don't hurry the harvest. Keep watering your seeds. Keep showing up for the grind. Let the silence stretch you, strengthen you, sharpen you. Eventually the results will speak, and when they do, you won't need to explain yourself. Your work will say everything that needs to be said. Your fruit will prove your focus. Your discipline will prove your desire, and your consistency will prove your character. So move quietly. Work relentlessly, build privately, grow faithfully, because when your energy is in execution, not explanation, you become unstoppable. When your silence is full of action, your results will be full of power. And when your life speaks, it will speak volumes. Let others make noise. You make progress. Let others talk. You take action. Let others flash potential. You produce results. That's how the silent ones win. Not by being loud, but by being legendary.